Now, we've learned about kinds of sentences. We've learned about statements and commands. We've learned about exclamations, and we've learned about questions. We kind of know what they're for, and we know how to end them. Period, exclamation point. Yeah, question mark. Good. So now what we're looking to do is put that all together when we're reading, because now we have tools. We have an idea of what kinds of sentences they are and why they were written with a period or an exclamation point or a question. Now, as I said, when we read with expression, we use the punctuation as guides to help us figure out what the person who wrote it means. Or maybe when we write, we can help the person who reads understand what we mean, right? Using the different kinds of punctuation. And that will help us read with fluency. It will help us read with expression. And when we do that, when we're reading out loud with fluency and expression, the people who are listening are going to better understand what we're reading to them, what the person who wrote the words means. Maybe you wrote the words, maybe it's what you mean. I find that for me, a lot of times it is easier for me to read something I wrote with fluency and expression. So when you're at home, you might want to practice writing things and then reading them out loud. It could help you read with more fluency and expression. So that also helps us when we're not reading out loud, when we're reading to ourselves, because we can start reading, the voice in our head will start reading with fluency and expression, and then generally we'll be understanding more of what we're reading, comprehending more, and that will help it very much. Now, we are going to look at some sentences and we're going to read them four ways. The first way, we're going to read very monotone in a very flat, boring voice. Very monotone. Everybody say, I will read monotone. Very nice. Very good. You're reading very monotone. Good. Now, the second way, I want to read very weird. And my voice isn't so great right now, so I'm not going to be able to get weird enough. Don't do what I do. Do your own weird. Don't do what your neighbor does. Do your own weird. So when you read it, you can go up and down and down. But use the words. I'm just giving you an example with weird noises. The third time we read it, we're going to read it very exaggerated, in a very exaggerated way. And the fourth time, we're going to read it naturally. We're going to read it like we're telling a friend. So if it's excited, we'd be telling a friend something very excited. If we're asking a question, we're going to ask a question. And if we're just making a statement, well, then the sentence just stops, right? And we're going to read it. And we're going to say it. And here we go. First sentence is, and we're reading it very monotone, very monotone. Did you hear the second song? Did you hear the second song? Yeah, good. Now let's read it very weird. Wow, did you hear the second song? All right. And very exaggerated. Did you hear the second song? And now let's read it just like we're telling a friend. In fact, tell your neighbor, ask your neighbor, or tell. Ooh, little spoiler alert again. At, say just say the sentence to your neighbor. Here we go. Did you hear the second song? Yeah, I like that. I have a feeling you know what it is. So show me. And what is that? It is a question. That's right. Good, good, good. Let's do another one. You ready? You ready for the sentence? Everybody settle down. Everybody focused. Eyes on me. I love being the center of attention. Now eyes on the board and the sentence. And the sentence says, stop making a face at your friend. But that wasn't right, right? Well, how are we supposed to read it? Very monotone, very flat. Stop making a face at your friend. Stop making a face at your friend. Flat's starting to be my favorite. Okay, really weird. Stop making a face at your friend. Which is kind of exaggerated, but stop making a face at your friend. There are different ways you can exaggerate. It doesn't have to be that way. And turn to your neighbor and tell them, but don't yell at them. Don't get in their face. Just tell them, stop making a face at your friend. So an exclamation point doesn't have to be yelled, does it? No, it just has to be said with feeling, with emphasis. And that is a exclamation. Yes. Or a command. Because that isn't that a command? What is a command? They're telling you what to do. Stop making a face at your friend. Yeah. Okay. Sentence number 3. Are you ready for sentence number 3? Here it is. Now I need to see it. The river will carry the 4 boats to the sea. That was very monotone. It was very flat. I almost fell asleep. Very nice. Let's do it weird. Wow, the river will carry the 4 boats to the sea. Okay, good. And very exaggerated. The river will take the 4 boats to the sea. Yeah, good. Good. You guys are very exaggerated. Who would have thought 2nd graders could be so exaggerated? Or weird. I know. And finally, turn to your friend, just tell them. The river will carry the 4 boats to the sea. And there are a whole bunch of ways that you could do it. Reading with fluency doesn't always mean that you'll get it right exactly the first time. Or sometimes there is no right. Sometimes there are 4, 5, 6 more ways to read it. And the more that you understand that, the even better you'll get at reading. So don't worry if you're like, I don't know how to read this. Think about the possibilities. You might have to read it a couple of times, and then you'll have a better idea. That happens to me all the time. All the time. And I'm not the youngest guy in the world. I'm not in 2nd grade. All right, one more sentence. You ready? Oh, whoops. What is that? Yes, that's a statement ending in a period. That's right. So we have one more sentence. Look at this one carefully. Read it. We're going to say it in a monotone. Did you have enough to eat? Did you have enough to eat? Let's say it weird. Well, did you have enough to eat? Yes, there is something wrong with that, Bill. Yes. Yes, Bill, but shh. We're not there yet because we still have to read it exaggerated. Are you ready to read it exaggerated? Did you have enough to eat? That was my exaggerated. I liked your exaggerated better. And one more. Turn to your friend. Did you have enough to eat? So yes, Bill was right and a bunch of you were right. There is something wrong with did you have enough to eat? What is wrong with did you have enough to eat? What kind of sentence is it? Natasha? That's right. It's a question. What should a question mark, what should, I did it again. I keep spoiling. What should a question end with? That's right, a question mark. So, did you have enough to eat needs a question mark. Right there, instead of the period. Magic, right? And you're right, it is a question. Now take out your Journeys anthology. Look in the table of contents, find the trouble with signs. The trouble with signs. See if you can find the trouble with signs in the table of contents. Raise your hand when you find it. What page is the trouble with signs on? That's right. Turn to the trouble with signs. You know the page. If you need help, your neighbor will be happy to help you. The trouble with signs. We're going to read it twice. The first time, the boys are going to read the part of Ben, and the girls are going to read the part of Anna. And then guess what? We're reading it again. It's pretty short. It's only 3 pages. And this time, the boys are going to read Anna. You'll be okay. And the girls will read Ben. And then everybody will get the same number of lines. Want to hear you reading very naturally. Sometimes this natural will be a question. Sometimes it will be excitement, so it'll be an exclamation. Most of the time, it'll just be a period, a statement. All right, we're going to switch up the groups. I'll tell you where to go, but before you go, I have another instruction, so wait for me to tell you to go. Soccer, you're at table 1. Pokemon, you're at table 2. Baby Yoda, you're table 3. Lego, you're table 4. And Baby Shark, table 5. And before you go to your table, and even if you don't have to move table, get up, walk to me slowly, and I will give you your book. And 1, 2, 3, up. Does everybody have their book? Good. So here's how we're going to do it. We're going to read one at a time. So each student will read one page and you'll go around the table. And I think you could be able to go around the table twice for each of these books. So go around the table and then go around again. Everybody has read twice. And if there are more pages, and I think there probably will be a page or 2 for everybody, then everybody reads it together. So I'll have an idea of when you're almost done because everybody's going to be reading together. And I'm going to come around and listen a little bit. I want you to read as naturally, with as natural expression as you can. So when there is an exclamation point, you don't have to go, but say it with feeling. If it's a question, are you going to ask a question? Probably want to go up at the end. Not always, but a lot of times, most of the time probably. And then most of them are going to have a period. And the period, it just stops the sentence. So there are various ways you can do them, but none of them are very exciting. Remember, you're telling your friend. Okay, and go. Looking forward to hearing this. I heard some good reading. Some very good reading. Good job, good job. Next, go through the books together as a group. I want each of you to find one statement, one question, and one exclamation. Okay? One of each. Decide. Don't argue about it. Try to be civil. This is an opportunity for you to learn to get along and work together. So I don't want to hear arguments. All right, good. So go ahead. We're going to share them in a minute. Oh, you know what? I'm going to give you 2 minutes. Does everybody have their sentences? Good. Now, choose somebody to read. We're going to go around the room. You're going to pick one of the sentences at random. Doesn't matter which one. In fact, I don't want everybody picking the same thing and everybody reading the question and everybody reading the exclamation. So when you hear other groups reading things, try to mix it up. You could go 2 in a row, maybe 3 in a row of the same thing, but let's not do more than 3 in a row of the same thing, okay? In fact, generally no more than 2 in a row. And if you keep alternating, that'll be fine with me too. You can keep going around or going back and forth. Are you ready? Okay, we're going to start with table 4. Read a sentence. Very nicely read. What kind of sentence is that? Trish, that is a question. Good, good. How about table 5? What do you have? Exciting. Annabelle, what kind of sentence was that? It was very exciting. You're right, it was an exclamation. Good job. All right, I have a piece of paper numbered 1 through 28 for all the students in the class, and I have sentences on the computer. So everybody's going to come up. Each person gets one sentence. You're going to look at the sentence, read the sentence to yourself silently. Then you're going to read it out loud so everybody can hear it. Nobody is going to say what it is yet because the person reading will write down what kind of sentence it is. And then, once it is written down, the person will ask, what kind of sentence was it? And you'll raise your hands. The student will choose who answers. And if you are correct, he will hold it up and show you that that is what he wrote or she wrote. We're going to start with table 3. Table 3, come up.